What's happening? 6 seconds, 7 seconds, 8 seconds, 9 seconds. All right, bring it on home. All right, here we go, here we go, here we go. I'm a little nervous. I shouldn't say that. I'm a lot nervous because I haven't seen you guys in 6 months. So here we go. We'll let it rip. Happy Oyster. Happy Oyster Show, Season 5, Episode 1, Year in Review. All right, bring it on home. Where do I start? Like I said, I'm a little nervous. I haven't been with you guys in a while, so it's nice to be back. And I appreciate your understanding, and thank you so much. Health, all is good. Everybody's healthy, everybody's fine. My cancer happens to be at bay. It's all good. Doctor gave me another 6 months. Tony Joe, the kids, everybody is healthy. We're doing fine. We're rolling along in this tough time. Fred is moving to Alabama, from what I hear. Apparently he has bought a boat, and the oystering down in Alabama is quite good. Apparently they're paying cash at the dock. Hey, hats off to Freddie, man. God bless, man. I love the guy. I hope he does well. Good luck to him. Business is good. Not making any money at all. That's okay. How long can that last? It can last a long time because I'm having a lot of fun. Really, I can't tell you what a great move it was 5 years ago, leaving that galaxy and coming to the new galaxy, and it's just so much more enjoyable, and I'm having the time of my life building. I love to build, period. And that's kind of me. The making money part, well, sales. Again, this was kind of the end of the year. Sales, what were the sales? Well, the farm stand. You've seen the farm stand before. The farm stand's right over there. It does good when it's stocked. When it's stocked, it sells out pretty quickly. The farm stand equals product demand barometer, which obviously the demand for the product is there. And it's not just the Happy Oyster, guys, okay? It's oysters in general here on Long Island. The demand seems to be there. Expansion on the way out for next year. Yeah, there's only so big I can go with the farm stand because of town regulations. But we are thinking about a little expansion, you know. I don't know if you know what a blivet is. A blivet is 10 pounds of poop in a 5-pound bag. So they allow you basically a sheet of plywood, a 4x8 sheet of plywood, which we are well under that right now. I think it's something like that. I don't know. It's the amount of square footage. In terms of farm stand expansion, let's first start with 2022 by trying to keep the thing stocked. It's tough enough. One-man show, tough to keep it stocked. That's sales there. For 2022, wineries and weekends, shuck and serve. We're looking at the possibility of going into a winery. Some of these wineries have other oyster farms in there, and it seems to be that wine and oysters kind of go together. Founders Oysters does some, Yennicott, some of these other guys are doing some oyster work or oyster serve and shuck at these wineries in their tasting rooms. And I happened to, somebody had come to me and looked and said, hey, I'd like to get into doing some shucking, Bart, what do you think? And I'm like, hey, I'm all in, I can't do it all. How can I, I'm all, so he's working on some marketing of the wineries on the weekends and where we might go with that. And of course, my only wholesale customer, the only place that the public can buy my oysters in a seafood market is at a Lighthouse Fish Market in Hampton Bays. They are my exclusive distributor. They're not, I haven't been supplying, again, sales, I'm not focused on that. I'm focused on getting my system down, knowing what, and getting a premium product. The product that we are bringing to market is premium, and no jokes about that. The crew over at Lighthouse Fish Market, my buddy Neil, Mike, Deidre, and Peg, and the rest of the crew over there, they are awesome. Go over there and check them out. They are, like I said before, exclusive. Sales for 21 were small but powerful. What do I mean by that? Well, as you know, aquaculture farmers and wild harvest guys do not necessarily get along that great. More on that in a second. Sales for the HOC for 2021, we sold to a hunt club. Just a quickie backup on what the hunt club is. Hunter's Garden, it's this place out in the middle of the woods in Manorville. And they have a spot, and it's where a bunch of guys get together. They get together twice a year as part of this hunt club, and they hang out, and I guess they have clams in the spring and oysters in the fall. So somebody approached me and said, hey, Bart, can you supply us oysters? I said, sure I can. How many do you want? 600. I'm like, woo, 600 oysters. That's a lot, man. That's the biggest order that we had all year. To Hunter's Garden, to the eel chowder event, to this thing that's been going on for 85 trillion years, and you guys want me to supply it? Why? No, okay. Well, obviously, a pretty powerful sale there. I need some water, hang on. Pretty powerful. I knew a lot of people were going to be there. Maybe not good people, maybe not great people. No, I shouldn't say that. I think that everybody's good, but maybe some people that don't understand. Right after we sold to that and they went to do their thing, I was dealing with some sabotage, which I'll get into in a little bit. The 600 oysters was the only big sale that we really had all season long. We've been working on a lot of different things over there, so consequently, in terms of, to wrap up the conversation in terms of sales for the Happy Oyster Company, we had operated at a loss for 2021. How much of a loss? None. Is the amount of loss. None. If it was an amount of profit, it would be the same number. None. Look it up. None. Next, vandalism, sabotage, and poaching. Oh my, that sounds like a thing, doesn't it? Vandalizing, sabotage, and poaching, oh my. Let's start with the vandalism. Burnouts in the drive, burnouts in the parking lot, beer cans and golf balls. Burnouts where we do these burnouts and we spray the rocks and spray up onto the deck and possibly break a window or just making a beeping mess. Come on, grow up a little bit. Beer cans, come on, the garbage can is right there. Just take them and throw. I'm not gonna rat you. Whatever, man. Just vandalism is littering garbage. Golf balls. Golf balls on the site, well, you know, we're going to be dealing with it, but again, stop. It's that guy across the creek. It's got to be. I mean, who else? How do they end up, like, in the marsh? I mean, obviously, they came down as a trajectory because they're in the marsh, like, halfway. Golf balls on the site. Not good. It's just not, doesn't make sense, man. Go to the driving range, you know. If my buddy Norman happens to be the resident bald eagle on the site, if he picks up one of them golf balls and eats it, he's not going to be able to poop it out and he's going to die. And that's not cool. It's against the law. It's a bald eagle, for God's sakes. Vandalism. We got to stomp that. Sabotage. I'll leave that to last. Poaching. It is what it is. I mean, you know, We dealt with some poaching in the beginning, and then somebody got wind that I'd been putting some tracking devices inside of the cages, and then it was Russian roulette, and they didn't pick up the right cage, but, or I shouldn't say that. The cage didn't break the water. Let's leave it at that. I'll get more into that in a minute. It didn't break the surface. The tracking devices, they work. It's amazing, but it didn't catch who I needed to catch because the poaching and somebody got wind of it and whatever. The poaching is minimal, if any. And again, it's not that big of a deal. I shouldn't say it's not that big of a deal. Sure, it's a big deal. If you need oysters and you're hungry, man, I'm going to give you some oysters. No problem. If you would like some oyster gear and whatnot, I'm going to give it to you. I could call up 5 guys right now on the phone and say, hey, where'd you get some gear? Did Bart give you gear or did you pay for it? No, Bart gave it to me. Yeah, I'll give it to you. If you need a permit, I'm not going to give you a permit, guys. I'm going to help you get one, though. It's not too big of a, well, it's time consuming and I want to help you get a permit, okay? Let me help you. Sabotage. All right, this is serious. Sabotage, I consider sabotage when my health is in jeopardy or the boat is in jeopardy. Just after I sold the 600 oysters to the Hunter's Garden Festival, whatever you want to call it, we had an incident on the farm where we broke loose and it left me scratching my head that, did my gear fail? Did Bart Brooks' Happy Oyster gear fail? Did this beautiful cage fail? No, it didn't fail. I thought, there's just no way. But hey, nonetheless, I don't have it to prove it, so I can't say for a fact that it was sabotage. So we'll get it. How did you know? Well, kind of standard procedure is that we have, let me see if I can show you this the right way. This is a leader line. The leader line goes on to the cage, onto the loop right there. And you have this excess. You see this little excess loop right here? But there's a loop down here that where this goes. This goes up to a buoy at the surface, right? And that's where it is, right? So, and there's quite a few of these cages that are strung together. We've gone through this, go back and check it out. I am all about full transparency. Again, I want to share this. I want to share this with the world. I think it's important. Aquaculture is a thing of the future. So anyway, we come up to this cage right here that's out there in the middle of the thing, and it's blowing pretty good, and we hook the boat onto it, and we anchor off to the cage, right? And we get to work because this happened to be buoy number 15 that we went to, right? And meanwhile, we got buoy number 14 that's on board, and we're going to work that. We're going to send it through the tumbler, we're going to put it back together, and we're going to send it back in the drink. So we got our heads down, we're doing our thing. And all of a sudden, the boats broke loose, and we're out in the middle of the bay. I come to the end, I'm like, what the hell happened? So this thing is hanging off the end of the boat. I pull it up, and there it is. The clip is there, everything is there. But obviously, the cage and all the oysters that were on there are gone. But we know it's between where I am and, I don't know, 1,000 yards that way. A long ways. By the time we realized that we broke loose. No biggie. Let it rip. We'll get it. I'm not worried about it. If the gear failed, it failed. We'll grapple for it. It's going to be difficult. I know it's going to be difficult to grapple because our cages are so tight and so packaged, but I have an idea in my head because when something bad happens, the first thing you do is you say, good, and then you figure it out. And that's what we did. We figured it out. I made myself a special grappling hook with very, very pointy, very, very dangerous. I call it the waiter killer because if you catch your waiter, you're definitely going to get a hole in it. Very pointy, very dangerous. Overboard it went, and bang, we got him back. It took us a little bit, but we got him back. How did I know, and why am I so upset about this? Well, how did I figure it out? Well, remember we were talking about this and how this is attached to that? The bad guys got it to the surface and they attached it to there, right to the pigtail. And then it kept on coming out. Did this. How do I know that? Well, we had one hoisting it up on the winch, and I'm the guy that pulls it on board and lands it, right? Well, we got it to about here, and whack! The thing let loose from the davit and went straight down, and if my arm was in between the cage and the boat, it would have got broken, and that's what pisses me off the most. It's not about the stealing my goods or, it's about my health. Now, I'm upset. But what do you do? Again, remember guys, my training, when something happens to you that's bad, the first thing you do is you say, good. Because that's the first indication of what you got. You have a problem and we have to fix it. Good. No problem. I am not going to retaliate, although if I was hurt, I'd be really pissed off, and some severe sanctions might have to be put in place. Whatever. Next, sabotage. The mission. I'll get to the next sabotage in a half a minute. This is all out there in the deal. The mission, my own personal, why am I doing this? Why am I, it's because I just couldn't take it anymore, and I couldn't take dealing with the public and selling fun, because that's what I did. It's time for Bart to have some fun, so Bart went into the aquaculture thing. My mission is to put Long Island on the map for oysters, not for personal gain. If personal gain means to have fun, and I love to build, meaning building an industry, because Southampton Town does not allow commercial aquaculture. A friend of mine, I got to back up for half a second here. A friend of mine came to me about 5 years ago when I was not happy after I had lost my father, and I'm looking at dissolving the bike shop and whatnot, and said, well, why don't you become an oyster farmer, buy oysters from me and go and raise them out there in the bay and sell them, and that's that. And I said, damn, that sounds like a good idea. I don't have to talk to anybody. I can be out and outside, and sounds like a great. Well, great, sign me up. How do I do it? Well, you can't do it in Southampton Town waters. You have to do this. What do you mean you can't do it in Southampton Town waters? Well, you're going to have to get permission from the trustees. Permission from the trustees, that's going to take an act of Congress. This is almost impossible. The trustees are the oldest governing body in the United States of America. They are older than the country, believe it or not. In order to get something, it's no, all right? Great, let's do it. In order to do that, I'm going to need to have a working model. So I set out on course to get a working model. An oyster farm that's operational, that works, that goes, that does it. 5 years ago. Oh my, Bart, you got something to build now, don't you? Yeah. What did I do? Well, that same friend said, hey, I want to introduce you to somebody up at Cornell Cooperative Extension in Southold, and you got to see this guy. He's very unique. He runs an organization with all volunteers, and I think you got to meet him. I did. I met this guy. Cornell Cooperative. I became a volunteer. The volunteer led to, currently I am employed by Cornell Cooperative Extension as a part-time hatchery technician. And I love it. I love being up there in that whole atmosphere. I don't make any money doing it, but you know what? It's okay. It's okay. I already told you about that part. The volunteering led to a part-time position there. When I was volunteering very, very early on, I got wind about a feasibility study that was conducted by the Southampton Town trustees. Ding! Right here. It's pretty thick. Really? A feasibility study? Well, how do I get my... It took me 2 years to get a hold of that damn study, but I did. And I started to read it cover to cover. It was done down in 2003. So now, instead of time to build, because during all of this time I've been building the Happy Oyster Company out in the Peconic and whatnot and doing my thing, it is now time to switch from build to sell. I gotta sell. I gotta sell. I gotta sell this. I gotta sell this to a lot of different people. I gotta sell this to the trustees. I have to sell this to the public. And most importantly, I have to sell this to the bayman, to the wild harvest guy, to the guy that maybe he's been neglected from some of these government agencies, or maybe he's been put on such, and he's got a little chip on his shoulder, and I understand why, because of the sabotage, this, or that. They're concerned that the aquaculturist is going to take away valuable bay bottom, and I totally understand. We don't need a lot of bay bottom in order to do what we do. It depends upon how deep the water is, and there a lot of different variables and things go into it. But again, I think we have to include the baymen as much as possible. I met with the trustees. I helped them and talked with them. Some of the trustees are SPAT members, which is a community garden, which is where I volunteer. Some of the town council happens to go to SPAT as well. And I developed an elevator pitch. An elevator pitch is 2 minutes, man, what you want to do, and when you get somebody important in the elevator, such as the CEO or the head of sales or whatever it is that you got them in the elevator, you got a captive audience, and you got 2 minutes to get to that level, and you better pitch it and make it good. So I developed the elevator pitch to implement this, or at least to get somewhere on this. Fast forward, June 7th, 2021, Zoom meeting. The link is below in the descriptions if you'd like to see it. The trustees granted the Happy Oyster Company an experimental test plot, an incubator for seed, and a certified area for grow out. Wow. Honored. I'm able to do it in my own water. Maybe not quite sell them yet or this or that because, we haven't quite got total clarification, legalization, certification, whatever you want to call it. But it's one step closer. Boots on the ground. Keep looking forward. Keep going for it. 5 years ago, I said it. I'm going to do it in Southampton Town waters. So on June the 7th, in 2021, the trustees gave us permission. On June the 19th, I went into radio silence, as you know. I had to. I had to. I am in full transparency. I totally am not trying to pull the wool over anybody's eyes. During that 6 months, I started to sell, and I'm selling it. I'm still selling it. I'm selling it to this day, and I'm going to sell it for as long as I possibly can because I feel passionate about it, and I feel strongly about it, and I think this is the future. I talked with Bayman. I've talked with them. I'm sitting down with them. I'm trying to understand what their need, what they're pissed off about. I asked them straight out. I says, is there any young people that are Bayman? They couldn't answer that one. I said, is there anybody under 30 doing it? They couldn't answer that one. That's trouble. Got to keep the tradition alive. While working on this new test plot aquaculture spot that nobody had heard about except for the trustees and whoever saw the meeting and now, or whoever saw it on the public side, yeah, do it on the public TV access or on the YouTube channel, which again, the link is below to that exact Zoom meeting of which I was on the phone. I was not on the actual, I was on the Zoom meeting through the phone. You can see it. All the while I'm setting up this new aquaculture test spot, I'm ready, right? I'm ready. Here comes sabotage again now. Now, this is a different story here because you know for a fact I was not public about anything, nothing, zero. So somebody got wind of something from another, and again, I'm sectioning off a small area. Guys, we're talking about 150 feet. By 150 feet. I'd like to make it 200 by 200. That's an acre. 200 by 200. 200 feet by 200 feet. 1 acre. You can make a living on, provided the water is this high. Maybe this high at high tide. I'm around the plot and I'm cleaning buoys the one day and I damn near almost fall on my ass. I fall on my head. Well, fall in the drink because you're in water and whatnot. And what's underneath there? But there was a piece of cable. It wasn't there when I first put this in. There's a piece of cable in the ground, all round up, all, you know, it's about 100 feet of cable. It's about 1 inch wide. It's all in a big nest, waiting for my boat to come along and hit that thing. And boy, you could imagine what that would do to my propeller. Steel cable, this thick around, all wrapped up. I got it though, I found it. I found it before my boat did. Score for me. 1 for Bart, yay. Next, I'm out there putting in ice pins the other day. This is an ice pin. This is what you use in the wintertime because you're afraid that this might get caught in the ice, so you put in ice pins. Again, my gear doesn't fail, guys. I really pride myself in engineering my gear to be as tough as possible because it has to be. I was dealing in some serious weather and waves and whatnot out in the Peconic. It was bad. But now I'm on the water and in chest deep water and I'm dealing with it. I'm putting in a thing and I'm reaching and whoop, out comes this. I'm like, what the heck? I look at this a little closer and I'm like, how the hell did that happen? Where the hell's the new one? Here it is. Here's the new setup, nice and straight, right? And here's the one that came out of the drink. This is 1 year. It was, when it's buried in there, no, it's buried in right to here, right to the end. But when I pulled this out, it was obviously, it was out a little bit. And then under further examination, how bent it is, you can see how bent it really is. I mean, this guy really, I wonder if I scored, I wonder if I busted the cleat off of the dude's boat. Because obviously, he wrapped a hold of that thing, and he went around and around in a circle with his motorboat, trying to rip that thing out of there, and him getting himself a trophy with the nice buoy, right? Ha-ha, no, he didn't get it. Almost, though. Almost. He was close. But he didn't get it. So, now, again, what do? When something bad happens, you say, good, how are you going to fix that? Well, that's an easy one. That's a really easy one to fix. because it's only a couple of hundred feet to the shore. They make these, never mind. I'm not gonna tell you. Keep going forward, boots on the ground. I love this stuff. I am having the time of my life. Some people, I tell my buddy, Bart, how can you stand that, man? It's really, they're out to get you, man. I'm like, yeah, they are, but so what? It's okay. They're going to be my friends sooner or later. I'm going to help them, I hope. Remember when you got in a fight back in like the 5th grade or something like that? You had a fight out in the playground, you know. And then the next thing you know, that kid became your best friend. Meanwhile, you know what I'm talking about. Remember those days? The playground? Boy, life was simple then, wasn't it? No, it wasn't. It was tough. It was tough when you were 10 years old on the playground. It wasn't easy. All right. 2022. Did I go through that? I went through the sabotage thing. I went through that. I went through having fun. How 2020. How I'm not even going to go into the pandemic and all of that. And again, it's just what a mess. Radio silence. Went through that. Oyster farmers. Continue what you're doing. All right. Now, what am I looking for 2022? I'm looking to continue what I'm doing. I'm having the time of my life. I would like it if Southampton Town would allow some additional farmers. In order to allow additional farmers, we've got to be real careful and vet them, certify them, pre-qualify, find out what kind of experience, help them, coach them, make it a success for them. I would like that. I would like to help other people. Again, it's not my own, I want this to succeed. I want to keep the tradition alive in Southampton Town waters of working off the bay. I also look to work with other agencies to form partnerships and collaborations to keep the tradition alive. Working on the water, making a living from the bay, keeping our bays clean, keeping our bays safe, keeping our bays fun. I thank you all for the time that you have given me. I really enjoy sharing it with you guys. If there is anybody out there that is watching this that would like a personal tour of what we're doing and where we're going, I will show them everything, soup to nuts. Give me a shout. 631-902-0836. That is my phone. Well, hopefully it's all working. I don't even know if it is working because I can't even see it from here, but whatever. Please give me a shout. 631-902-0836. And I am ecstatic that you guys gave me the time and the pleasure to present to you what happened in 2021. I really look forward to 2022. And again, you want to give me a shout? I'm here. I want everybody to be cool. I want everybody to have fun. I want everybody to be respectful of one another. And I love you guys. When am I going to see you again? I don't know. I guess you're going to have to subscribe. If you like what you saw, please give us a fat thumbs up. I love you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you next time. I don't know when that's going to be. See you guys.